Trades delta is retesting RTH neutral. And volume delta hit negative 1K, continuing to drop. Maybe. I'm going to erase this so nobody gets confused. So this is limit order absorption, right? We have sellers on the tape that are aggressively selling, but what's price doing? And why is it doing it? The trades delta to me is the closest thing that we get to seeing limit orders hitting the book. I think of it as, you know, a bunch of 1 lot, 2 lot, 3 lot trades hitting the book being refreshed, right? So the aggressors right now are the sellers, right? They are the ones that are actually crossing the bid-ask spread, which is what the CVD reports to us. It's telling us the market orders are selling short, but we've got limit order absorption. So anytime your CVD is dropping, you've got limit order absorption. The trick, I guess not the trick, but you guys are always going to face one of two scenarios. You're going to face this kind of limit order absorption, right? Where price is rising and CVD is falling, okay? And then the opposite, which is I think what we had the other day or day before, where we had again price was dropping like crazy and the CVD was ripping, right? So one of those two forces is trying to overpower each other, right? The sellers are trying to overpower these limit buyers, or the limit buyers are trying to exhaust, right? We call it exhaustion when these aggressive buyers, they're like, all right, forget it, we're done, and they just tap out, right? So the trick is you know seeing the phenomenon happen and then waiting for it to play out just enough, right, for you to get an edge and take a trade. And today might be a funky day because it's a no news day, so we know these kinds of days generally don't have as much volume. But you can let this don't feel like you have to jump into a trade. You can let this play out a little bit and see who actually takes control. So we have this kind of misalignment right now. And so I think it's, if you're kind of new to trading volume delta and trading volume delta the way that I'm teaching you guys to do it, there's nothing wrong with letting this, like we talked about yesterday, let this open play out. And at some point, all right, at some point, they will be back in alignment with each other, right? If the buyers do actually overwhelm these sellers, then you're going to get your volume delta is going to come up, right? It'll break RTH neutral, it'll go higher, and you'll be able to pick up a pullback to one of these, one of these delta levels. If the sellers are going to actually get, they're going to stay aggressive and overwhelm them, then you'll get alignment, right? You'll get alignment with price, with delta, with the trades delta, and you guys will be able to look for a pullback. So the trades delta is showing possible signs of weakness, but we still have this misalignment here. I haven't looked at the strategic chart to really see where we are here in outer space. So I want to show you guys this. I'll just pull it up in trading view, it'll be easier. All right. So we're sitting basically below a bundle of VWAPs. There are two ways to look at it, right? You're either going to drop or it's going to hold. And the thing is without a news catalyst to really push it lower, um, we're still, like Travis was saying yesterday, we're still inside of like a multi-day, a multi-day range if we draw a profile around it. You get something like that. Generally speaking, if there's not some kind of major news event, it it won't. Okay, so now we're starting to get some alignment between these. Back to this. Back to the action. Okay, so RTH, right? Trades delta, it's starting to drop now. So here are your choices. I feel like you can either try to catch some kind of bounce trade off of this 2K level, and there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to realize that, it's basically a scalp trade. You need to be patient and wait for it to actually hit that. And really, the best trades are going to come from trades where you have alignment between them, meaning that maybe your trade delta is hitting negative 1K. So just a thought. You can also, so price is still not quite fully in alignment. It looks like it wants to be though, right? Our deltas. Remember, I want you guys to go with the order flow because and generally you want to go with the aggressors. In this case, it looks like these aggressive short sellers, right, are kind of winning this battle here. So we want to be going in this direction. Does that mean that I'm just going to open up a short trade right now? No, because again, you don't know what the order flow is going to do. Yes, it's pointing downward right now, but again, they don't have to sweep this low. They could hit the brakes. Now, is it likely? Sure, because it's in such close proximity of it. In this case, yes, we know that there are stops here. All right. Okay, so we get a break. Now we've got alignment, right? Okay, so now we've let the order flow really show us the direction that it wants to go in. It's wanting to go down. So your trades are either going to be like an inside out trade, meaning you get some kind of a pullback, right? Let's say that CVD comes down and it hits this 2K level or 3K level. You're either going to get some kind of a pullback and a continuation, right? And you want to look for alignment between these two, between price. So that's kind of a with the trend trade. Or you do a counter trend trade, which is kind of what I lean on. And you wait. You wait for this 3K level right here to get tapped into. And you put on a micro, see what happens. Is this the bottom? Oftentimes it's not going to be, and that's okay. But the idea is to, you want to put yourself in alignment with order flow. Order flow is showing us that it's wanting to go down. So you've got to look for pullbacks. You can't, I would discourage you from shorting right here at the 3K, right? You're going to want to see a pullback either to the 2K, to the 1K, or all the way back to neutral. That's it, right? It's either going to work this way, it's going to work here, or it's going to work here, right? So you can catch the bounce and ride it back up a little bit. Again, you just have to understand that if you buy this 3K, you're taking a counter trend trade, right? Which could ultimately go back to session VWAP, go back to overnight highs, right? Again, you don't have to nail that. You don't have to nail from the bottom all the way back to VWAP to make a few $1,000s or to, you know, get an account funded or to get a payout. All you're trying to do is catch a little piece of this. If I put on a micro right now, whoops, that's 5. I don't want to get in the situation I did yesterday. Let me fix that. But if I put on a micro right now, yes, if you don't mind, please, thank you. Right, and I decide to take this counter trend trade because, like, let's face it, we're kind of late to short at this exact moment, right? We're kind of late because we're up against the bottom of a of a delta level. So it's like, okay, we can try a counter trend trade. Now, the thing that I would remind you guys of is that we know that once we get down into, I'm going to erase these other, once we start getting down into these, I'll do this. Once you start getting down into 4, 5, 6, 7K, this area right here is outside of the normal distribution. Meaning that if you were to draw a bell curve, right? Okay, so look, our little, oh, I didn't mean to exit that. So we made 50 bucks on a counter trend trade there, right? You do that over and over again, you can make a pretty decent living. I want to pull up this 4K level right here is basically the, let's just call this 70%. So 70% of your days are going to fall within this delta range between 4K positive, 4K negative. Most of your days are going to fall in here. When you get a day that starts hitting 5K, 6K, 7K on the NQ, now you're starting to get into those outlier days, which, depending on what that negative delta is pushing into, may give you a much higher bounce. So if you look back at the trading view chart, right? If we're hitting negative 7K, if we're hitting negative 7K and we're pushing into, let me change the stream here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to share the entire screen here. All right, so we're looking at trading view. And this is really how I look at these VWAPs, is that if, you know, right now, look at where we're at in outer space. We're right here. It's not a level of significance. It's, to me, it's nothing, right? We're not down here at these lows and we're not back up here at these highs. So it's like, okay, you know, this, your risk to reward trading in this space right here, and I think Travis would agree with me on this, is not great. It's just not. So what we want to be targeting and waiting patiently for, which you don't always get. Like we don't always get these kinds of days, but We want to see it hitting 7K negative, and we're pushing up against a quarterly rolling VWAP, right? Like a day like this, where it's overbought, right? And I don't like using that term because it makes you guys think RSI or MACD. That's not what I'm saying. But, if it's been pushing up all morning or all day and it's at positive 7, 8K, a reversal's coming. And then like this, you know, we want to see it hitting negative 7K here at this quarterly VWAP, or we want to see it hitting 7K at this previous month's VWAP extension, or this week, right? Um, these are going to be your A plus trades, right? That's the A plus setup. Thank you. The A plus setup is it's deeply sold, or sold off into a deeply discounted area, um, with heavy negative delta, and there's enough time in the day for it to give you a nice full reversal. Like those are the three things that you guys have to be thinking about. Where are we at in outer space? What's my overall risk reward? If I put on one micro here, can I make 500 bucks on one micro? Or if I put on one mini, can I make, three or four or $5,000 with one mini? These are the kinds of trade locations that we're looking for. This is why I use the VWAPs, right? Is to help me identify these kind of these epic level trade locations. Because if you're not trading in one of these locations, that you're going to have, it's going to feel like a struggle, right? And if you're not in one of these epic trade locations, then you're going to have to lean a little more on your ability to scalp around, right? Because again, it's really hard to predict, right? And this is what, yeah, it's fun to talk about it, but it's very, very hard to predict what is this thing going to do, right? We don't know. We don't know what it's going to do. Don't try to predict what it's going to do. Just look for entries, right? Look for entries, 1 micro, 5 micros, again, whatever your risk tolerance is. Try to start building into a position, okay? But don't get, you know, we can't get wrapped around the axle and you're looking at this thing on a 1 minute chart like this, going, you know, if this is what you're looking at and you're trying to trade this, you're gonna get chewed up, right? Oh, well, Kerry said I need to short, you know, when we're below the previous day's VWAP, and we need a long when we're above it. If this is all that you're looking at, this is really hard to trade like this, right? So it's why I use tools like the volume delta to show me when there's, buying or selling taking place. Um, I mean, you guys can see, gosh, sorry. This is tough, right? To try to figure out exactly what's going to happen. So you may have to lean on your scalping skills, right, to bring in a little bit of money. Um, but on days when we're at these really epic levels, those are the days that you guys should be, aggressive in your trading, be willing to size up a little bit and take advantage of the risk to reward that you've been given. I'm going to go back to this session chart here. Okay, so we had alignment. Between the three of them. So where do you guys think it's going to go now? We've had this alignment, right? Lower low, lower low. Trades deltas, broken RTH, low or RTH open. There's aggressive selling. Now our trades are in alignment. We've had a pullback to a K level like we talked about. I wish Leon was in here. That's great, Ryan. Nice job, buddy. All right, man. All right, I'll talk to you later. So if we would have shorted this pullback, you'd be able to probably have an initial entry and be taking some profits and right? We got this alignment with them. And the thing is that you just don't know, right? How aggressive they're going to continue to push it one way or the other. So we're looking to see if these guys break this 3K level. Excuse me. All right, hitting the 3K. So if you went long here, you could have made a little money. And if you went short here on the pullback to the 2K level that we talked about, right? You'd be even, you'd have even more money. So it's hitting the 3K. Your choices are to either try to, scalp along or wait for some kind of pullback, right? And try to get short again. We're in alignment right now, so we know, right? Like we know. I want you guys to understand, right? Like we know that the shorts are in control. They have limit order alignment, and they've got volume on the market order alignment with price. So the sellers are absolutely in control. Not overly aggressive because I think because of the day type that it is, right? Like it's a no news day. But I want you guys to see this, right? We know that they're in control. And until something changes, if you are a trend trader, you should be looking for shorts. If you're a counter trend trader, then you could try to scalp these dips. Guys, let me know if I'm talking too much too, because I know that I've got a mixed group of traders here. So Charlie's never seen this stuff, and I don't want to just be droning and putting you guys to sleep. All right, let me know if I'm, like I said, I don't want to sound like a prick, and I don't want to talk your ears off either. Again, I'm not in any trades right now, so it's easy for me to sit here and kind of armchair quarterback this for you guys. So let's let's see if they push it down here and we get some kind of alignment. Between these two. Again, I intentionally did not, I took off the VWAPs, I took everything off so that way we could focus on what are these guys telling us. We're looking for price to really, okay, so we'll pop in delta. Yeah, and they were more aggressive. Um, and eventually um they backed it up, right, with limit orders. Anytime that you have delta that fails to reach down into the lower K level, it's starting to tell you something. So we're starting to get some aggressive buying to come in. So this might be a case where I mean, let's try it. We're going to just do 1 micro. And let's see how serious these buyers actually are here. There is a divergence. So we've got price making lower lows, but the order flow is telling us that they're buying. Price has to, in order for price to reverse, again, reverse meaning, I guess in this sense, because we're looking at, prices falling. In order for price to reverse, it has to sink into liquidity, that liquidity being limit orders, right? So these aggressive buyers have to absorb. Like, absorption is one of those things. I used to think that absorption was just limit order buying, but it's really not. It's really a combination of both order types absorbing some momentum, right? So we see prices falling, and it's making a lower low, but the order book is starting to shift subtly. All right. It doesn't mean, and I'm not saying that this is the absolute bottom, and it's not going to sweep this low again, or run the stops, or however you want to articulate it. But we know that there is a shift, right? There's a very subtle shift in the order book. And there's just different ways that it comes. Sometimes it'll be, very, very aggressive. Other times it'll be a little more subtle. Anytime that your CVD starts to flatten out like this and like this, it's absorption, right? So there's buying absorption here, and there's some selling absorption here. Now, we put on 1 micro long. We are not quite to our 70% distribution of normal CVD. So it's not really time to get really heavy. We want to see the buyers start to get aggressive and start reclaiming these prior delta levels, right? We want to see these guys push this up, reclaim that 2K level, and kind of keep taking it higher. This is kind of how my trades start off, right? I see a little shift, I see a little divergence, put a little piece on, see if there's some follow through with it. Depending on where we're at in the overall, like, I don't know, CVD grid is what I call it, or CVD chart, I may DCA into it. Where, and I mentioned this to you guys yesterday, where I'm trying to improve my trading is this opening piece, right? This is where, if I'm not patient, right, or if there's just not a super clear signal for me here in this open, you can get yourself offsides really fast. And you guys have seen me do that a little bit. But if you wait and just let it kind of show you what it wants to do. Like this was a really nice short right here. Whoops, that's like the worst X in the history of chart annotations right there. But you know, that's a nice move down from that. And that, you know, it's not a crazy risky trade or anything. Curious, let's see what the volume profile looks like for that. Was there any edge in us? So I mean, I do like fixed range volume profiles. There's an LVN there, and this is basically center mass of this kind of little high volume node here. So yeah, I mean, I don't know that I would rather, again, lean on this delta level than the volume profile, but I mean, you know that if price breaks this low volume node, that you probably need to get out of your trade. Okay, let's see what happens here. I'm not gonna exit this yet. I'll be right back. I'm gonna put a jacket on. All right. So continuing on, we identified this kind of divergence here. So our price is down a little bit, but look at what our delta is starting to do. Delta is starting to make new highs. Trades delta is starting to not make a new high, but it's at least retesting. The order flow is starting to show indications that it wants to go up a little bit. Doesn't mean, again, that this thing here doesn't get swept. Just starting to give us some clues. This is why I really don't look at candlestick patterns and things like that, because you know, you can, and again, this is a 30-second chart, so sometimes I'll trade a 5, sometimes I'll trade a 30. You could trade volume, whatever. But what whatever these things are telling you is not really that important compared to what the order book is telling us. What the orders themselves are saying. They're saying, hey, we're starting to buy. So you can wait for them to pop through these K levels. Let's see if the buyers actually have conviction and they're going to follow through. Again, we kind of noted that we had this, um, the sellers did not reach all the way down to this 4K level before we started to see some shifts. Now, when we get a push down like that, price, we're not panicking. If you were in one full-size contract, you might be panicking because you might be down 700 or 800 bucks. But that's why I'm telling you guys to trade light. Okay, we saw this kind of initial divergence, and yes, price has got lower highs and guess a lower low. But again, look at what the order book is doing. Do we want to really average down heavy right now? No, we don't. We don't want to. Don't start doing that kind of stuff until it starts getting to some extremes, right? But you've got to give yourself enough room to let these trades kind of, work themselves out. So we can all agree that basically from the open over here to the left and the open on our delta chart are bearish. Like anybody can see that. But look what's happening now. Despite price doing this. So, right, we see somebody is actually buying. Does it mean that it's going to reverse? No, not yet. That's why you got to be patient. But the signs are there. Whoops. The signs are there for it to happen. if for some reason it does. So now another important level here, very, very, very important level, are these two guys. Because this is now our RTH delta low. All right, so this point right here is where seller aggression ended, which corresponds with this swing point right here. That is where the sellers, at least from an order book standpoint, really let off the gas. They took their foot off the pedal, and now this is kind of coasting, right? Price is continuing to trickle down. There's no denying that. But there's a subtle shift that's happening. So we wait and see for, if aggressive buyers are going to come in. Again, I have no idea what horizontal levels we're at. Doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what the order book is telling me. And I'm intentionally leaving this micro on to, I don't know, show you guys the way that I think about it. We want to see these guys start breaking these levels, right? I'm not gonna, well, I'm not gonna put a yellow line right here because it's just too much. But we know that. So price is lower. Little bit of aggressive buying. Let's see. Oftentimes you'll get kind of a double bottom here in the delta chart. Okay, so heavy delta. What do you guys think that is right there? What do you think caused that, Charlie? That big flush in delta? Yep, that's what I think too. Oh, you guys, I'm sorry. So to me, that looks like stops, right? Okay, so we're now at negative 4K. So, and look at our trades. What happened to our trades? Did our trades make a new low there? Look at that. Can you guys see how you got a massive drop in negative delta from those, those stops being run, so to speak, but yet our trades delta is holding. So now that you guys are out, I'll DCA in. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think it might. No, let's keep going, at least a little bit. Okay, so look at, watch the trades. Let's see what the trades does here. Because the trades hasn't made a new low yet. And we're kind of at that edge of that 70% distribution. I'm going to explain all of that, I guess, when I release the course, but for now, just trust me on it that kind of at the outside of a normal day, 4K is a good kind of extreme. So I'm gonna give it just a second here before I. Okay, so now look, we have negative delta. Price is holding a little bit. I haven't DCA'd yet. All right. Okay, so we're in one full-size contract. We're also at 25,300. I meant to put the whole large round price numbers on here for you guys. I like to have them on my chart book, but I forgot. Okay, so now we've got a whole bunch of buy trades come in. We see that right here on our trades delta and a bunch of positive delta size, right, on the market side. So now we're and if you DCA'd in, this is why I don't worry about my my win rate at all, right? We had kind of an initial position. I don't remember exactly where I got long at, but I bought one right there, something like that. Not worried about that. I'll take the L on that thing. But, you know, you can start to sell some of this off if you want to and kind of make up for that, I don't know, 130 or $150 or so that you lost right there, whatever it is. And you just, you know, stay flexible. So now this is our, excuse me, this is our RTH low. And we see the divergence, right? And in trades, trades started to go kind of hold things positive. So if I, again, if I were you guys and I was trying to build an account, might take some off. Might get some kind of a double bottom here, but really be nice to see trades delta confirm that it does in fact want to go higher, and you absolutely can wait for that to happen, right? You absolutely can wait for it to start to break a new high before you initiate your trade or DCA or whatever your situation is. You can wait for this to start breaking higher. I like to watch these little swing points right here. So now we want to see the momentum shift. So I'm always watching So we want to see the trades delta in red break that 1K level. We want to see the volume delta kind of make a new high. Price obviously start making new highs since we're trying to go long. Again, we're not predicting anything, not saying this thing is going all the way back to VWAP. We're not saying it's going all the way back to pre-market highs, previous day's highs, all time. We're not getting into that, right? That's You can certainly, I think, shoot for that, but we're just trying to position ourselves to get payouts with these prop firms and grow our personal accounts. So, now we're up $700 on this trade. If I had a small account, I'd probably we'll just take off 5. Okay. So we locked in half of full size contract worth of profit. It's like $300. We made up for our DCA, that we held through, and now we just let this thing go, however long it's going to go. If you have time to sit here, right, Charlie, I assume you don't have any kids. You're lucky because you can sit here and watch this thing go all the way back up. You can watch it break. Yeah, you're in a good spot, man. You can watch this thing break RTH delta neutral. You probably want to take some profits when it gets back up to there because sellers could absolutely step back in and start getting aggressive, right? It could sell all the way back off and break this low. It does that kind of stuff all the time. We're not trying to predict what it's doing. We're just trying to get in alignment with it so we can let our trades run. But if you have time to sit here all day, you can absolutely do that until the next kind of, major divergence shows up or whatever you want to call it. But you should absolutely be taking profits, locking in profits. And, just watching it. If you want to use volume profile, right? We've got, whoops, it's like the worst straight line ever right there. You got a high volume node here. And here's the wonderful thing. All right. When I realized this too, again, because we don't know what's going to happen in the order book. So you can see that sellers are coming back in, they're getting aggressive. we don't know what their intentions are. We don't know where they're going. If you get stopped out, like right now, we're trying to get long. You could absolutely, again, if you got the conviction to go short, you could absolutely be trying to go short, whatever. Again, everybody's different. But what's cool is that if price breaks, right, and it does another rotation down, that means that your CVD does another rotation down and you get an even better buying opportunity. And so it's nice because here we are at 1040, and if it makes another rotation down, it's an even better buy to hold through the rest of the day. Does that make sense to you guys? I mean, so if I get stopped out, I'm like, sweet. That just means I I have an even better opportunity later on. So let's see what if it's going to hold here, then this trades delta should absolutely break this 1K level and make a higher high. If if the aggressive sellers are still going to push it down more, then we'll see that trades delta break. It'll get back in alignment with the volume delta and we'll go a little bit lower. But again, we're not panicking if that happens. I'm going to clear some of these out so we don't get so busy. Oops. I'm going to have to wrap up here in about 20 minutes. I'll go to 11 and then I got to finish working on my son's rifle for him. So um, I didn't initially put the trade delta on your guys' chart because I wanted to talk with you again about trying to present this stuff to you guys in small doses in a way that makes sense. Again, I've mentioned tick a few times. I do use tick. I don't currently have it up, but um, it's all just layers of confluence in your trading. If this trades delta breaks 1K, it's going to start popping. Again, that's telling us that there's more buy trades hitting the market than there are sell trades. Travis, are you seeing the divergences clearly? Yeah, good. If it makes sense to you, then then I know that I'm on the right track. Um, Charlie, I good, good. I'm really glad to hear that. And Charlie, I know you guys are coming from ICT. What are you thinking, buddy? Is it making sense? Again, I'm really a scalper, right? Like I think first and foremost I'm a scalper, and then I try to build into winning positions, but I'm always trying to start small without prediction. Um, I try to take all of the bias and all of the prediction out of my trading. No, no, no. Luna told me you guys are full ICT cult members. That's what she said. She showed me her wrist tattoo. So don't tell her I said that, man. She'd get mad at me. I don't know what your relationship with her is, so I don't know if you're her boyfriend or husband or brother or what. So anyway, it's irrelevant. Complicated. Yeah. Okay. So I know you're not her brother then. Anyway, so um, right. So we've got a little bit of upward momentum. You know, if you guys wanted to, you could take. Whoops. Dang, I did not mean to close that position. That is for sure. I was just going to take off. I was going to show Charlie how to do some runners, right? Take off a few and leave like one micro on, but I accidentally closed it. That's what I get for having my hotkeys right next to each other. So here's the thing: is that just because this is happening and we're seeing the two that are in alignment with each other right now are price and our trades delta, which again I personally read the trades delta as that's as closest thing as I can get to limit orders, right? If you think about an iceberg order being executed, we can't, if it's a 1,000 lot iceberg, we can't see the full size of it. All you're seeing is it hitting the order book, right? I think about it like a rapid fire machine gun, just bang, 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 hitting those limit orders are being refreshed in the book. So they're showing up as individual trades, right? So this is how I read this as the limit orders slash absorption. And then these are our trapped sellers down here. These guys that were getting heavy and kind of late to the party, they're about to get squeezed. So now, personally, okay, because I try to keep my trading like simple. I'm not here, you know, again trying to predict where this thing is going to go next. Sellers could absolutely step back in, right, and be so aggressive that they overpower these limit orders. It happens. So we're not trying to predict it. We're just trying to get in alignment with it, right? Um, and there may be times when I would try to short this back down, but I will tell you that it's probably not going to happen when we're already here at 4K. Um, if there is, like I told you guys before, a pullback, like this was a really nice pullback here to 2K, and it ended up being a really nice trade. Like that's kind of my ideal um, trend trade, which happened right here. You can also trade these breaks of K levels when they happen strongly sometimes. Again, this is kind of late. 1K, 2K, sometimes they'll get pushed through pretty quickly. Also too, like, accumulation is a process, and it takes time. It sometimes it takes hours to unfold completely. Price could very easily come back down. Do something like this. Right before going higher. What I would say is that when you see this kind of structure forming and you get a little W at the bottom or whatever you want to call it, right? You will see, you will see it start to break. Eventually, the buyers will get in alignment with the trades guys, and you will see it start breaking these K levels, right? It starts climbing the ladder back up, and you will find nice long trades that have good alignment, similar to how our short trade had good alignment right here. And you just carry that. So maybe you're not catching the absolute bottom of the move, right? The reason that I post those screenshots is because, well, they're actual trades for one, but two, like, you know, it just shows what you can do when you understand the order book. It's very powerful, but you don't have to, you don't have to bottom tick every darn trade. You can wait for this thing to kind of play out a little more. Um, so it looks like some more stops were possibly ran right there. Or it could be actual, aggressive selling size on the tape. It's going to push it lower. Can I don't know what's below us. So I know that there's not a VWAP nearby, I don't think. So just trying to read the order book. It's almost easier to do it like this without some kind of horizontal level, staring back at you. Because again, you can get really, really fixated with those horizontal levels and thinking what price should do. So let's see if they're going to reattack this. You guys have to let me know if this little color scheme is working for you, because I tried to make it really. I took my wife's advice. She said use bright colors so they can see them on stream, and that's what we went with. So Brent, do you have any questions? I just realized that you were in here. I'm glad to see you watching the stream, man. So we're hitting RTH low again on the volume delta side. So some buying, but no aggressive buying yet. You guys, so we've had limit order buying, right? But no big time aggressive buying yet. Generally, you want to be in alignment with those aggressive buyers or sellers. When we took this little short trade right here, right, we're in alignment with the short sellers. So let this thing, this bottom, resolve itself a little bit. I'm not going to jump back into a trade just yet. Also, I do need to go here in a few minutes. But let's see if these buyers can, let's see if these limit order buyers can overpower these aggressive sellers here. And again, sometimes it takes a leg or two up before price really starts to try to turn. Again, I'm not worried about, I'm not concerned about the shape of this thing, right? If these limit guys right here, right, our trades delta breaks this, could probably put on one. And I would imagine that at that point, you'll start getting some real alignment with the volume delta. Hey, there's some people watching on YouTube. Interesting. I'm new to the whole YouTube thing. Okay, so if you were long from over here and you're still holding that little piece, don't get discouraged, right? We took profits on that little leg up. And this is one of the things that pains me when I see traders is that they'll take an L, they'll be like, oh, that's my one trade for the day, and then they're done. But what they're forgetting is that, again, especially when you understand the volume delta, and you realize, hey, we're getting down here to 5K now, so I know that we're further outside of the normal window of distribution. It's an even better opportunity to buy. Again, you could have shorted, absolutely, right? Hindsight makes that look like a wonderful short trade right there. And again, there's some days when I might take that trade, but I'm trying to help you guys see and understand this accumulation process and basically the reversal, right? I may not be able to get all the way through it because I'm supposed to be working on my son's rifle, but I'll give you guys a few more minutes here. So even though we had this absorption here, and you can see how the trades delta is starting to kind of lag, right? The trades delta is, they were both going down, and again, this is just ballpark here, but they were both going down, and now our trades delta is starting to subtly, right, shift this direction, while our sellers get more and more offsides, right? At some point, sellers are going to get really trapped. When I say really trapped, I mean, again, these are kind of broad brushstroke terms. It doesn't mean that we're going to get, again, a short squeeze all the way back to VWAP or anything like that. Look at how many buying trades came in right there. So remember that these right here, guys, these numbers, they're an actual measurement. So in that short span right there, uh, let's just call it 1,000. 1,000 buying trades hit the market in that little space of time right there. Again, it's a 30-second chart. 1,000 buying trades hit the market. Of course, there was also 1,000 sells right there, but again, here we are. It's a 5K level. You get a little bit of a bounce. Not saying that you buy that or scalp that necessarily, but the 1K levels, they work if you just kind of scalp around them a little bit. Okay, so now we've got a new delta low on our trades. We've got a new delta low here. And the reason that I put these is because I'm just always, again, watching the relationship between price and what the deltas are telling me. Guess you guys could call this catching the falling knife 101. Sellers are definitely more aggressive. All right. It's 11:03. I would love to stay here and continue to war game this, the bottom of this, but I'm not going to be able to. So just continue to watch it. If you've got the trades delta, watch it. When the trades delta really convincingly starts making new highs, I think then you really know that, and the volume delta is that it's really time to go back up. I like it that we're down here at negative 5K. This is like, again, good. Negative 5K, -6, -7. This is really good reversal territory. So I think if you guys are patient with it through lunch, I know it kind of stinks. But at some point it will revert back up. Yeah, I'd love to stay here and catch it, but I got to go work on his rifle, so he's gonna be mad at me. Of course. I hope you guys got something out of it. Um, I hate it that we couldn't actually finish this little talk back up, but for whoever's listening on YouTube, man, God bless you. I appreciate it. Again, this is all kind of new to me. But yeah, just watch it, guys, while it's down here at these lower extremes and see what it does. I think it's in a good spot for it to reverse. Again, I have no idea what level we're at. We're at 25,100. So, but I have no idea what else is out there, volume profile wise or VWAP wise. I don't know if we've swept lows yet, but you guys play it smart, and I think you guys are in a good spot to catch a little bit of the bottom here. I definitely would not try shorting it any lower than this, though. All right, Travis. I'm. Oh, it did the rolling VWAP. Yeah, man. Okay, cool. Yeah. So again, that's a spot, right, where you would assume that that they're going to start. Sweet. Yeah. Yeah, of course. You guys, again, you're welcome to stay here in voice chat. Uh, Travis will steer you guys right for sure. All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys later, and I will be back. Uh, well, I'll be back tomorrow. So if you guys have any questions, just put them in the Q&A questions feedback, and I'll answer them. And yeah, this has been good. So I'm glad that we're able to talk through it, and I'll see you guys later. Take care.